All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is February 19th, 2026. My name Coach Kerrigan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Let's take a look at the markets today. See what we got going on. All right, so we'll start off with SPY. All right, on 10-minute chart. We got a week 3-candle uptrend coming into the close. Look for a continuation of that uptrend tomorrow morning, 2-hour. We have a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. More like bearish consolidation, really, right there. On the daily chart, we've got candle, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, under the 17, still at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish, but still in a downtrend. Okay, let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ got a, let's see what the high is here. Okay, so the low is 672. 675, so it's a higher high. So an inside day for QQQ, closing under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under, excuse me, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, middle of quadrant 4. Okay, middle of quadrant 4, here's the April low. So that's bullish, but still in a downtrend on QQQ. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. All right, Diamond Dow, lower high, lower low, closing under bearish trap, under flat 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, middle to top, quadrant 4. That's still bullish. Here's the April low. Still bullish, still in an uptrend on Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at IWM, aka Russell 2000. All right, so here is lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17 EMA, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, middle to top of quadrant 4, still bullish and still in an uptrend right there. Here's the April low, still bullish, still in an uptrend on IWM. Take a look at Stinker. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete this, this. There's the all-time low. There's the all-time high. There's the all-time high anchored VWAP. There's the all-time low anchored VWAP. They're about to converge right here. Price action, inside day, lower high, higher low, closing inside a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time low anchored VWAP, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, under the midpoint, not in the lower third, but still in a downtrend, yet to make a higher high. So this is neutral, excuse me, and still in a downtrend on Stinker. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold. Silver trying to claw its way up north. Higher low, higher high, closing inside a bearish trap, but under the falling 17, under the downtrend line, over the midpoint, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, not in the upper third, so this is neutral. There's a low, there's a lower low, and still in a downtrend for silver. Let's take a look at gold. Gold's got a low there, 56.03. The low there, 55.32. So that's a higher low. High there, 60.51, high there, 61. So higher low, higher high, closing over a bearish trap, over the midpoint, still bullish in the middle of quadrant 4, not over the all-time high anchored VWAP, but still in an uptrend. It has not made a lower low on gold, so still bullish and in an uptrend. Here is the 2022 origin of that move. Still bullish, still in an uptrend on gold. Let's take a look at USO. USO, nice, hasn't been up here in, gosh, 8 months. It's the last time it got up here. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the rising 17 EMA, up in quadrant 4, that's bullish and in an uptrend. UNG. UNG, higher low, higher high, closing under a bearish trap, under the 17, falling 17 EMA, under the 12-month high anchored VWAP, still in quadrant 1, so that's bearish. There's a low, made a lower low, and in a downtrend on UNG. Technicals, T2101. Let's take a look back at SPY. What did SPY do today? So SPY kind of went sideways. If you look at the body, drifted a little bit lower, but kind of rallied back. So SPY went sideways. So no gains, no losses. Back to T2101. We went sideways on T2101. I guess I can accept that. T2101, that is the participation. You can see participation keeps diminishing day by day. Less and less interested in the market. Okay, let's take a look at T2122. Excuse me. So we fell out of the buy zone and we spent the whole day in the buyer's chop zone making a higher low. Okay, so I'll take it. It's not bad. Could be down here in the sell zone. So I guess I'll have to. It's not going to change, but it's not bad. I do like the higher high, and I do like the higher low. Maybe we can get back up here sometime tomorrow. We'll see. T2122. T2123. You can see a high here, definitely a high here, higher high. So we're still in an uptrend on T2123 15-minute chart, still up over the rising 200 SMA. You can see price moves up, holding the higher ground, moves up, holds the higher ground. Bullish gap today. Notice the bears didn't fill the gap. Okay, so who's got the ball? The bulls still own control. All right, in the T2123. So that's bullish and in an uptrend. Take a look at the 3-bar. There's the April low. This is the all-time high. We're still bullish and in an uptrend over the rising 200 SMA. On FNGU on the 15. So here's today's price action. We came low. We gapped down. We filled gap. That was nice. We're still kind of holding this area right here. Let's put the quad lines on it. And you can see we're still trying to hold that upper third. That's bullish up there. So still trying to hold that based on this low. Now, okay, if we zoom way out, okay, and we drag this all the way over, all right, you can see clearly we're bearish on the bigger picture, all right, but when it comes down to what happened from bouncing on support, we're kind of hanging out in the upper third. That's nice. Not quite good enough. Kind of need to be on the other side of the 200. Would have been much nicer. Still not seeing any exhaustion. Here's the neckline right there for the head and shoulders pattern. We're on the other side of the neckline, but we're certainly not breaking to the upside for this inverse head and shoulders here on FNGU. So you can see there's a low. We have not made a lower low yet. There's a high. We made a lower high here. And there's a low. We made a lower low there. Here's a high. We have made a higher high here. So we have a lower high and a lower low. So we're still in an uptrend on the FNGU 15-minute. Still up in the upper third right here. We're closing in the upper third. They're just barely hanging on to it, all right, by, chin hairs. So there's 15-minute chart, still under this falling 200, still under the all-time high anchored VWAP. They're bullish from this perspective of this low, bouncing off of support. From this perspective, coming off those highs, they're still bearish. So nothing really here has done anything to really change the dynamics other than they made a higher high, which they haven't done in a long time. They're trying to hold on to that higher high, but it doesn't look promising. That's FNGU on the 15-minute. On the US dollar, kind of moving up. So we made a higher high on the dollar. Dollar's now making in an uptrend, no longer in a downtrend. They made a higher low and they made a higher high. So there's there's an uptrend now starting in the US dollar. So there's an uptrend in the bottom of this bear flag. All right, let's take a look at how we did in the markets today. Okay, so what did we trade? All right, so let me explain this. All right, because to explain it, I got to kind of go back over here. So yesterday, okay, we missed yesterday, gap fill would have been right here. Okay, see right where that candle closed? That would have been gap fill. So yesterday, they came within 8 cents of filling gap right here. Okay, see there's a little daylight. Barely see it right there between the bottom of that tail and the gap fill line. Gaps by nature are magnetic. Okay, so they missed the gap fill by 8 cents. All right, so that's telling you the bulls have control of the ball. So I want to play bullish. I want to trade bullish. I want to find bullish uptrends and trade those because they're telling me that the bulls have the ball. Yesterday they failed to, right here you can see they failed to still fill gap. Okay, so we open up this morning. Now, because they failed to fill gap, I have a bullish bias still, all right, when I open up this morning. So I'm looking to buy calls to fill gap because we gapped down from where we closed yesterday, So I bought calls to rip up here, and then I saw price kind of wiggling around, trying to hold up here, and I thought maybe it could get up and go higher. No such luck. Instead, they kind of had a melt off into the close, back to support. All day, if you put it on the 10-minute chart, it did not leave the VWAP side for the most part. You can see there we're still attached. So there's the free floating candle. And then you can see this didn't go anywhere. There we're still attached. There's the free floating candle. You can see we didn't go anywhere. There we're still attached. You can see we didn't go anywhere. You can see all of these candles here are all still attached to VWAP. So not much of a good trade other than the first one, which was to pick off the lows and ride it quickly up to the gap fill, because gap fills are magnetic by nature. So we traded those. So in that process, I traded every bounce off the support area down here back up towards VWAP. So I made close to 1,500 trading calls back up to VWAP and higher right through there. That's it. I tried some UUU. I got underwater with the UUU earlier, and then I sold it for a small gain right there. Not much there. On this one, you can see bought the calls, and you can see clearly here I spread out a net of sell orders up above and sold into strength right there. Same thing here. Okay, bought the dip on those calls, sold into strength up here at the top of the option candles. Okay, same thing here. Actually, these were done at the end of the day in hopes of price ramping up to 685 with a thriller trade at the end of the day. Not quite. I should have got the 684 strike, but I didn't want to spend a lot of money at the end of the day, so I did manage to ink out $600 on that. $6 on the Zim. Still have some Zim. Sold off most of it only because I got 1 day left. All right, so not really interested in chancing it for another day. So I'll just extract my profit and I'll take what I get on that. You can see right now it's all the way back up there, so I can probably sell that tomorrow morning. We'll see. All right, SPY on the 695 calls. You can see I lost. I still have those. Okay, trying to ink my way out of this with a small loss. 700 calls. Another one where I'm trying to ink my way out with a small loss right there. And Intel just all the way down here to 44. So not being bullish right now. So it's going through a pullback. You can see it breaking the uptrend right here. Looking for it to probably recover either sometime in the near future. At least once it hits this support area right here. Okay, right about there. Okay, look for it to hit that support and then bounce back up towards this downtrend line. And that's it for me for today, all right? So I'll see everybody tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll do it again. This morning was nice. Made 2 daily goals, 30 minutes, right out the beginning of the day. Same thing as yesterday, 3 daily goals, right at the beginning of the day. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Thank you.